Hello and welcome to Nights at the Hobby Table. I'm your wonderful host Blake, here with the always, I don't know, it's Obi, you know him. Yes. Hey Ro, what's up?
I'm normal today. I'm freaking normal.
Normal's a bit of a stretch.
Well, okay. Normaler. I'm not voluptuous.
Stretch like your foreskin.
Lack thereof.
Oh. How are you, brother?
I'm good. I'm really good.
Nice.
How about yourself?
We actually, we've already spoken for a little while today, haven't we? We just did a, Patreon exclusive bonus episode. So, if you're not a Patreon, you're not going to get to listen to that. It was pretty unhinged. It was pretty fun. So, maybe consider dropping.
Unscripted.
Completely unscripted. And, you know, so if you want that bonus content, you want to hang out with us a bit more, go drop $1 or $2 on our Patreon and you get to listen to that shit and have fun with it.
Exactly.
Today, though, we got another bonus episode. So many bonuses. Everyone's getting bonuses. It's like Oprah Winfrey with episodes up in this bitch. What are we talking about today, brother?
Oh, how about something from Back to the Future again? We're going PlayStation Retro.
Cool. I like it. Look, man, anytime we want to talk about old school stuff, especially video games, you know I'm always happy to do so.
Yeah, well, the PlayStation has been a big part of my life, so I think it's definitely time that we talk about it.
Is this one of the retro consoles you actually owned?
Yeah.
Oh, we did it, guys. We finally got there.
Well, I own the Game Boy Color as well.
That's true. It's hard, though, like, when we do these episodes, and I'm like, oh, remember this as a kid? And you're like, no, I never had that. I'm like,
Cool.
Yeah.
I have friends that had different consoles here and there, though. So at some point, I've played most of the consoles, but never owned them. Like, you know.
I get you. Awesome. Well, shall we get started, Obi?
Well, we already got rid of all the banter, so might as well get into it now.
What banter? Who's the panther banter?
Not me, that's for sure.
Alright, you can shoot. I'll let you start over.
Alright, let's discuss what is an actual PlayStation. The PlayStation, of course, as we all remember it, is the big grey brick. It was grey, right? Usually it was grey.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah. There's one behind me. There.
Yeah, exactly. And it had like this big round button to open up a hatch, and you put in a disc. It was one of the first ones that I had a disc, no?
Correct. So, it's actually a funny story about the disc. So, prior to PlayStation, most consoles use cartridges.
Yeah, or a floppy drive.
Well, that was more PCs, I think.
I think an old Nintendo had a floppy drive.
I never had one with a floppy drive, I can tell you that. But, yeah, so a lot of it was cartridge-based or floppy-based, like, not a disc. So, how the PlayStation actually come about is interesting, because Nintendo had actually struck up a deal with Sony for them to design them a disc add-on for the Super Nintendo.
Okay.
And that it was to be called the Nintendo PlayStation. Right? That was what they'd done. But what ended up happening was Sony did all the legwork, whatever, and then Nintendo went behind Sony's back just as they were ready to put the product out into the market, and they actually made a deal with Philips instead. And so Philips started doing it. And so, you know, like, especially in Japanese culture, like, you don't go back on business deals like that. Like, that's, so dishonorable. So Sony, with that, they were basically like, okay, fuck you. We're going to make a console anyway. And, a year or two later, in 1994, they dropped the Sony PlayStation and became basically Nintendo's biggest rival.
Yeah, for sure.
Like, they shook it up, man.
Yeah.
So
Oh
yeah.
Yeah, that's the PlayStation did come out. When did it come out? 1994. Okay.
94, yeah.
Yeah. So
It came out in 94, and it was just... It had competitors, but, like, Sega had really fallen off, because they did the whole, like... They did the Mega Drive, or the Genesis, and then they did the 32X expansion thing for that. And by the time they fucked around and actually got to doing a disc-based thing, or, which would have been the Sega Saturn, everyone already had PlayStations for cheaper.
yeah.
Right? And like Nintendo, they didn't even bother doing a disc-based thing until the Wii.
Yeah.
And they only did it for 2 consoles, and now they're back to cartridges anyway.
Yeah.
Like, that's just their thing. So, PlayStation well and truly smacked the competition out of the water.
Oh yeah. For sure.
Obi, what makes the PlayStation so special though? Like, obviously it smacked them out of the water, but why? Like, what makes them so different?
Yeah, well, you mentioned the disc drive, that's for sure. Then, of course, with the disc, you also have the availability to go with 3D graphics. Although still very pixelated, it was 3D.
Low res, but they were polygon models, yeah.
Exactly. We all remember the Final Fantasy games where they had basically no fingers.
Cube hands.
Oh yeah, but yeah, like the 3D graphics, they were very new, at least in this game, in the game area. So they came out with everything that they really needed to have a big impact on the world. So and give game developers the options to use more bytes, to say it like that. And make
and I mean,
nicer graphics and
yeah. On top of that, like the PlayStation things that its contemporaries at the time just couldn't. So like even the N64 didn't come out for another 2 years after the PlayStation. Yeah. 2 whole years is a long time in the market for games.
Yeah.
On top of that, when it did come out, the PlayStation had a better controller. It had similar graphics. I personally think the N64 has nicer graphics, but that's just me. The sound is better because it's on digital disc, and it doubled as a CD player. Yeah. Like, you could whack your favorite CD into your PlayStation and play it on the TV.
Yeah.
That's cool as. And on top of that, PlayStation had what I class as the first modern controller. Like, if you look at a Super Nintendo controller, you go, oh fuck, that's real old school. You look at an N64 controller, you're like, what the fuck? Like, that's a spaceship, that's old school. Same with Sega. You look at not the first PlayStation controller that launched with it, but the DualShock 2 that came out, maybe a year or two after it launched, with the 2 analog sticks. It stayed functionally the same. Like, the silhouette of it is still how a PS5 controller looks. It's ubiquitous. It's across the market,
Yeah.
The only people to do a better controller, than that basic idea has been Xbox, in my opinion. They're the only people who've done better.
Your
and
opinion,
even that
sure,
even that is contentious.
Yeah.
That, I feel, actually comes down to hand size. The preference there.
Yeah, I have really small hands. For me, the PlayStation controls were...
I have massive palms, so if I'm using the analog sticks on the PlayStation for a long time, I actually get really sore wrists in there if I'm playing real hard, whereas with the Xbox, it's up here, so it's straight motion, and then it's just flicking that analog stick, so it's... but it's dollars and cents. They're both good, but my point is, compared to a fucking N64 controller, which has 3 prongs and shit going everywhere... They were trying shit, but it was crazy shit.
Yeah.
And the PlayStation just kicked them out of the water with good control systems.
Yeah. It was also the first time that you could have, actual video clips, because, if you remember all the animated graphics they did, it was fucking sublime at that time.
all the
right?
cutscenes and shit.
Exactly,
Yeah.
the cutscene stuff. It was really good stuff. Like, and then you compared it to the actual game you were playing. That was like you're basically playing with Lego bricks on a screen, but like the cutscenes were amazing.
I feel like those cutscenes as well and the sound quality, they managed to make it so you could get a different level of storytelling across in those games.
Yeah.
Like, you could have the same game functionally on an N64, but without those nice cutscenes to that level, the storytelling is not the same. You know?
Exactly.
So I feel like, PlayStation was fucking well ahead with that. Like you said, your Final Fantasy games. Even the intro for Tekken. Yeah. Remember how, like, you wouldn't press the start button, and then it had all the crazy fighting and stuff, and you're like, whoa, man. Everyone wanted the Hihachi Mishima hair.
The original Need for Speed was PlayStation 1 too, right?
Yeah, it was.
So,
Dude, this is the thing. I've put down a couple of beloved franchises, but we'll rattle off a few as well that pop up in our brains, because there's a lot.
Oh, yeah.
Obi, why should someone pick up a PlayStation this far in the future, like in these modern times?
I mean, should you? I don't know.
100%. I think you should.
I don't know. Doesn't PlayStation 5 have the option to play the old games now?
Not really. Not well.
Not really.
PlayStation is really bad for backwards compatibility.
Yeah.
You can play a few on their PlayStation Network Plus thing or whatever,
but
it's not like I can just throw my PS1 disc in a PlayStation and make it work. It doesn't work like that.
No.
At all.
That was the biggest thing that irked me with upgrading, because you couldn't play the old ones anymore. And like I grew up, I would sell my console to get the new one. So all the games that I had with that, unless you modded it. I think the PlayStation 2 you could modify so that you could play the PlayStation 1's games.
No, the PS2 will play them natively, most of them.
Yeah.
Most games, as far as I remember. The PS3 won't.
Yeah.
Only some PS3s will play PlayStation 2 games. I don't think it plays any of the PlayStation 1s, if I remember. But, I mean, I think the main reason to get a PlayStation in the modern times, like if you're trying to collect for a retro game reason, is the game library. Like, the graphics might not hold up, but those games, there are some all-time bangers on that console. Like you said,
sure.
Final Fantasy VII, fucking, like, Need for Speed, they're all there. You know? All there.
Yeah, Final Fantasy 8 and 9 as well. Any Final Fantasy series, basically.
I don't even know how many Final Fantasies there are, man.
Oh, there's a lot. There's a lot. But yeah, it was really good. Like, the only thing that kind of bothered me was just that you had multiple discs. You know?
Oh, yeah!
So you had to, when you finished one part of the game, you had to swap to the next disc. I really don't understand. I don't understand how that works. Like, my brain can't.
Because they were making such big games, they were so ambitious that the disc could not hold as much data as it needed to.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah, for sure. I still don't understand how you can get that information from a disc and play around in a big world like that.
It's wild.
It's really cool technology, really.
Yeah. Alright, Obi, you want to get that one for us?
Yeah, there's two different versions. The original is known as the PSX, and then you have the smaller version, which is the PS1. And I don't remember which one is which, though, in looks like.
So, the PS1 is smaller than the one that you're thinking of, and it has rounded edges. So, like, all of it is rounded, and it has smaller little buttons on it. It looks like almost like a kid's toy of the original PS1. But they refer to the first gen PS1 as PSX. I don't know why, but the actual PS1 is called a PS1. That's the small little revised version. Basically the slim. And I know for a fact too the PSX came in a few different colours, which are quite rare. I've seen them in dark blue, which I think is like a developer one, and there's a couple of other like celebratory colours and things like that. They didn't go wild on it, but there is a few, and like if you're really into hunting down rare shit, you can hunt for those.
Yeah.
You know?
I didn't know they did different colors, because they're always known to be like grey or black. Well,
no, there's definitely a couple of other ones. I believe, like you said, they did a black version. There's definitely at least a dark blue one.
Yeah.
I've seen some other ones as well. I'll look it up. You keep going with the episode, I'll Google it.
Okay. Besides the different colors and the two different versions, there were also like different peripherals that you could use. I think the PS1, you had the option to attach a screen back to the backside of it. I think I even remember that once somebody had that screen, so you could basically really have your whole setup portable with you. So that was pretty cool. The games, they're still quite affordable. Of course, if you're not looking for the super rare ones, which is
like Final Fantasy, it costs an arm and a leg.
Yeah,
but here, look. So I've looked it up, and from what I can see, there's at least a black one, a dark grey one, a whitish one, and 2 different blue ones.
Oh, okay.
So
blue.
I think that fucks pretty hard, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah. No, it's cool. So if I can, they did that stuff, and like I said, if you're into hunting and you find one of those, like, you know you're onto something cool. I love that.
Yeah.
Cool. So you were talking about games and like, you know, how they're still affordable and stuff like that. This generation had some fucking the launching pad for some fucking legendary all-time series.
Oh yeah.
You know, like we've been getting to it, and like everyone starts somewhere, but like these games, they rocket shipped from here.
Oh yeah.
Like we got a few written down. I know we'll think up some more, but Crash Bandicoot is number 1. Like everyone had Crash Bandicoot on the PlayStation 1.
Yep.
And those games are still great.
I think Spyro too. Spyro 1 and
Spyro.
Crash were usually ones that either you had like a demo version of it, or you had a full one of the full games.
100%. 100%. Yeah. The other one is the Metal Gear Solid series. So there was Metal Gear games before the PlayStation 1, but Metal Gear Solid on the PlayStation 1 was where it took to a whole different level. Hideo Kojima got involved. It became like a stealth thing instead of like a weird, like, whatever it was before.
Yeah.
And you know, even if Metal Gear Solid's not a blockbuster game, but like GTA standards, it's an important game. It has a lot of fans, and you say Metal Gear Solid to a gamer, they know what you mean.
Yeah. Resident Evil is also one of the big series that kicked off with PlayStation. I mean, 100%. I remember being fucking shit scared while playing Resident Evil 1. Christ almighty. And not, like, how the hell would you aim with that game? It was terrible. Basically, when you finally did find a gun and ammo, you didn't know how to shoot it, and you were just wasting bullets on zombies, and they were still coming at you.
Those games, man, they were wild. I remember playing Resident Evil Nemesis on the PS1 when I was a kid. And that shit was like so fucking hard. Yeah. Right, as a kid. But on top of that, it was so scary that Shane watched me play it once and got like a massive phobia. So I wasn't allowed to play it around him anymore when he was a kid. Like, he was like, Mum's like, don't fucking play it when he's around. I'm like, you know, because he was terrified of zombies for ages after. It was wild.
Oh.
Poor kid. Sorry, Shane. The next one, man, fucking Resident Evil, but with dinosaurs.
Yeah.
Fucking Dino Crisis,
sure.
man.
Yeah.
Which, okay, that might not be a legendary thing at the moment, but you wait. They will remake it, and people will lose their brains. One day it's gonna happen.
I fucking hope so. I would definitely buy that game again and go through it.
I'll take Dino. If they made it to the quality of the Resident Evil remakes,
yeah,
take my money. Take my money.
I think one that I want to drop in there that you didn't mention and that is still very active to this day, Armored Core.
Oh yeah. I wasn't sure if Armored Core kicked off on PlayStation 1. I can't remember, but you're probably right. I definitely played it on PS2, so I dare say it probably was on PS1. Yeah, Armored Core, yeah, I mean, fuck, they only released one, last year?
Yeah,
and exactly. It's from Software, so people lost their brain.
Exactly.
Nice. Tekken?
Classic.
Tekken is a huge series still. Ask the guys in the Discord. They know. They know what I did to them. Man, the next one is huge.
It's still big to this day.
Still huge. And the cultural impact that game had on tuna culture.
Yeah.
Like, that game is so partly responsible for Fast and Furious, all that tuna culture. Because, when we were kids, and I'm sure this is for you as well, I'd be like, I never knew what a Nissan Skyline GTR was. Didn't have a clue. Like, I didn't know that.
No.
But when I got one in GTA, in fucking Gran Turismo, and, like, it was this cool Japanese car, then I knew. And that's when you start to notice them on the street and stuff like that. And, like, the people that are a little older than us, they had the same thing go on, man.
Yeah.
They were like, it's in Gran Turismo. I'm buying my first car. I'm going to buy that.
Yeah.
And that's
sure.
how it went, man.
Yeah.
So that early 2000s tuna culture, which I love so dearly, a lot of that springboarded off of Gran Turismo, which is why in the first Fast and Furious movie, you can actually see a dude playing Gran Turismo in his car on an LCD screen.
That's cool. That's cool as fuck. Yeah. I don't know if you've played this one before, though. Ace Combat.
Ace Combat? The jets?
Yeah, the fighter planes.
Did that start there as well?
Yeah.
Holy shit.
I think that did also port on the Nintendo. I'm pretty sure I played that on Nintendo.
There you go, man. That's what I mean. Like, all these games that are like titans of the industry now, like, a lot of them started on the PlayStation 1.
Yeah.
Because, like, previously it wasn't possible to do, Grand Theft Auto.
Yeah.
Was originally on the PlayStation 1. It really kicked off on PlayStation 2, but it started on PlayStation 1. So, there's that. Man, there's so many games. Like, Final Fantasy was out before PlayStation 1, yes, but Final Fantasy became the legend it is with PlayStation 1.
For sure.
When it did Final Fantasy 7, like, that's when everyone was like, this is the shit.
Oh, man. All of the Disney games. Do you remember playing Disney Hercules?
Yes.
Fuck.
Yes, and Monsters Inc. on the PS1. That was a banger.
Oh. So many good games that this console gave us. Doom?
That's not...
Well, did it originate on PlayStation?
No, it was originally a PC thing. Doom was definitely a thing other places, but, like, Doom, man, everything came there. Even, like, Mortal Kombat 4 and things like that, like, 3D shit, It was there, man. It's just wild,
Man, I'm going through the list of all the games, and there's so much. I've been scrolling since we started talking about this, and I've only reached down to F.
There you go, man. They had a heap of Dragon Ball Z games.
Yep.
Fucking, like, just insane. Insane game collection. Like, they had one of the biggest game libraries of all time, I think.
Yeah.
On the PS1. And, well done. That's what it takes. This is what game consoles are missing now, is the games. Like,
is really titles that break through and put you on your memory, like a game like God of War, that too.
yeah.
But like that's still also an old game. I'm pretty sure
I think
God of War came out on PlayStation 2. Yeah,
it did. Yep.
so
The issue we have with gaming now is that we only have the AAA bloated shit and the indie stuff. We don't get the crazy experimental AA stuff nearly as much as we used to in the 360, PS2, and PS1 era. Like, we just don't. Like, and games used to be able to be much more simple. Like, do you remember playing Crazy Taxi on fucking? Yeah, no, that was another one as well. I think that was Dreamcast and PlayStation. Crazy Taxi, Midtown Madness, like motocross games, like they don't make them anymore because they don't sell absolute gangbusters.
yeah.
But back then, the industry was so small that like a game that just sold well was enough.
Yeah.
Like, oh, it sold a bit? Cool, that's good. It doesn't need to make billions.
Yeah.
You know?
Oh.
So, I don't know, it's hard with gaming because it's a lot like Warhammer, where, like, you want everyone to enjoy it, you want everyone to love it, but with every new person that comes in, it gets a little bit less your thing, and a little bit more just everyone else's thing. And once it's everyone else's thing, things get watered down and things get changed, and it becomes more about the ultra money that it can make.
Yeah.
You know, whereas, like, when it was more of a cottage, small thing, you know, like, when I was a teenager, you didn't really admit that you were a gamer to people.
Mm.
You know what I mean? Like, there wasn't a thing you really did. Like, you might still play games with friends, but, like, you didn't walk around lunchtime going, I'm a gamer, because, like, you get beat up.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, you fucking nerd, you know? It's
now
not like that anymore, but...
Now it's completely different. Oh, you didn't game yesterday? What a loser.
Yeah, but it's like, now, though, everyone's switched into it. And it's like, yeah, I don't know, man. Like, I would rather play a creative new game every year than a Call of Duty every year.
Right?
I'm just saying it, you know?
It's just remakes of stuff that's happened so much already. Like,
yeah,
there's lack of originality. You'll probably get that with the indie games, but like they're not gonna be shoving that in your face. You're not gonna know about them.
Yeah, exactly, and that's the issue. Like, most people will prefer to just sit there and play Call of Duty every year. I know people that play one game, right? Like, so to say, every year they buy FIFA and they buy Call of Duty. They game. I don't class them as people who are gamers. Like, they game, but they are playing, like, the most accessible thing every time, all the time. I'm not belittling them saying what they're playing isn't a game. Yes, it's valid art, but they're not living and breathing like what's coming out, what to be expected, what's going on with game technology, like what's this, and this. They don't have that care. They just want the new Call of Duty. They'll pay $150 for it. They don't care about the microtransactions. They'll pay for those too. Like, you know, I'm more like, and I'm not saying I'm like an ultra gamer either. Like, I listen to a little bit of gaming news and that sort of shit because I like to know what's coming out. But like, I've been gaming since I was a small child. Mario, things like that. I think Call of Duty has its place. I used to love Call of Duty for a time. And then you sort of move on, you know?
Yeah.
Like, you move on, you find other things. And, you know, I'll just as happily play Fortnite, which is obviously not a game, you know, as well. Like, in that same sort of thing as COD, by that logic. But at the same time, then I'll load up Jurassic World Evolution and play dinosaurs for hours.
Yeah.
You know, or, you know, I'll switch from my PlayStation 2 and play Need for Speed Underground 2, like I was the other week. So it's like, you know, but there are gamers who do just play FIFA and COD every year. That's it. That's all they do. I don't know.
Feels like they're missing out a part a little bit, but sure. Whatever.
Mate, it does, because there's so much cool shit. Imagine taking those Call of Duty kids and be like, hey, you know, here's this fucking, you know, showing them shit like Borderlands. Yeah. Like, if you're a Call of Duty kid, you should love Borderlands. Because it's a similar system that you're used to, but it's got a fun story, It's got loot mechanics. Like, Borderlands slaps, you know?
For sure. Yeah.
Anyway, Obi, do you have any fun memories from when you were a childhood? From your childhood with the PS1?
All of my memories are with the PlayStation 1, it feels like. Christ.
Just cuddled up to it in bed?
No, it was more of a... because I had a good buddy where I spent most of my time when I was a child. And we used to share games with each other. So if there was a game, I would take my collection of games with him and we'd play one of our games, and usually 2 players, or if not, if it was a single player game, we would just take turns, you know. That's how we did it. We learned from each other and we started playing and getting better and whatever.
As you do.
I think there was this one time that I was so focused on playing like a level, and I was doing so well on not dying, and he just stuck, one of those arrows with a suction cup straight onto my forehead, and I just kept on playing until I finally died. I was like, "Hey, what the hell is this?" So took it off, and I just had this fucking huge mark on my head. I was there for like weeks.
That's funny. That's funny. I like that. That's good. Do you have any games that you particularly remember being like the absolute shit when you were a kid on PlayStation?
I think Dino Crisis is definitely one of them that I rocked a lot. Fuck, what else was there? I mean, the original Call of Duties. No, Medal of Honor it was called.
Medal of Honor, yeah.
Yeah, I rocked those too.
You know what else is actually really fun? I don't know if you ever played it, but there was a game literally called Army Men, where you were like the little soldiers, and it was still a third-person shooter.
Yeah.
That was great fun. I enjoyed that.
I think the one that I probably put most time in was Final Fantasy IX. Because I remember playing the different Final Fantasy series, and 9 is the one that I got. And my mom bought Final Fantasy 7, but in French. So I never really enjoyed that one. But it was Final Fantasy 9, I played that one a lot. It was really good.
So you don't understand French?
I do. I just couldn't put it into context in a game, you know?
When you were young.
Like,
Okay.
There were so many words in there that was just like, this is nonsense. I don't know what's going on.
It's gibberish to me. Gibberish.
Yeah, I didn't know where to go or what to do. So it was really hard playing that game. I think I got to the end of disc. Yeah, I finished disc 1 on Final Fantasy 7.
I think that's a pretty good effort anyway.
Yeah, but like, I don't know. It was sad. If that game would have been English, that would have been huge for me. I would have played that so much.
Nice, man. Nice. I remember when we were kids, so we were Nintendo kids, like through and through, you know. And when we moved over to the north side, we sort of moved over with nothing. And so our first Christmas, Mum was like, right, we're getting you the new Nintendo 64. And me being the little shit I was like, I don't want that one. That doesn't have the games I want. Blah, 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 blah. And Mum was like, all right, we'll get the Nintendo 64, and we'll pick you up a Super Nintendo. They're really cheap now, right? Because they were like going out. So Mum was like, yep, cool. Got me that. Cool. Anyway, I get a little bit older. I'm like 8 at this point after a year or two, playing a few games. I'm starting to have a brain. And Rory's getting a bit older too, my older brother. And, it got to the point where we're like, there's not really much to play on the N64. Like, you go to rent a game, they don't have much there that we haven't played. Like, there was games, but it wasn't like what we were wanting because we were maturing, you know?
Yeah.
And Rory sort of talked Mum into getting him a PlayStation 1. And it was like, okay, cool. So we got a PlayStation 1. Fuck all games for it. I think we only got one game, but we used to rent our games, like I said, all the time.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, we'd go to the video store on the weekend, $5, rent a game for the week, like we're good, you know? And yeah, so Rory got the PS1, which used to live in his bedroom, and the N64 was down like our rumpus room, and then I had the Super Nintendo in my bedroom with like a little TV, you know? Cool ass. Great. My brother had a demo disc with Tekken 3 on it. Alright? And he was like, it only had 2 characters. It had Eddie Gordo and Lin Xiaoyu, the little Chinese girl, right?
Yeah.
And he's like, oh, come play. I'm like, oh, okay, I can play. And at first, he whooped my ass. And he's like, oh, you gotta be the girl, you know, older brother shit. Okay, I'll be the girl. Man, eventually, I got really good. And it got to the point eventually where my brother would kick me out of his room for beating him, like game after game after game after game. And then his friends would be like, oh, I'll fight him. I beat them game after game after game after game after game. My brother's like, I don't want to fucking play with you anymore. He kicked me out of the room. And then I was the only character I knew how to use. There was this random, like, kids' holiday activity thing once at a local park where they brought in like a trailer with a bunch of TVs and people were playing Tekken.
Yeah. Okay.
And I'm like, holy shit, I know how to play this. I get in there. They all got mad because I was using the same chick and beating them again and again. Just this little Chinese chick, man. And they didn't want to play with me no more. I was like, okay. Ask the Discord. I'm Tekken champion. You remember that?
Oh, yeah.
They were stepping up and I was putting them down, man. And I'm not even that good at Tekken anymore, but like, I remember being good at Tekken getting me in a lot of trouble as a kid.
Oh.
So that's my memory. That and playing the fuck out of Monsters Inc. and having to like mash the button to fill up the scream jar, you know?
Oh.
So yeah, that's what I got.
games.
Yeah, but man, honestly, PlayStation 1, fucking undeniably a milestone in gaming, and I'm glad I have mine. And I still collect for it. When I find the game for a good price, I'll pick it up.
Yeah.
You know, the black discs seem to be pretty resistant to disc rot as well, which is really good.
Yeah.
So.
Very nice.
That's you got anything else you'd like to say, Mr. Obi?
No, I'm really good. It's good to grasp this one because it's been such a big part of our lives. So together with the Game Boy, I think those really shaped my my childhood. To say it like
your
that.
childhood, yeah. I'm really looking forward to talking about the Xbox 360 eventually, and the Xbox as well, because I feel like they're unsung heroes of the gaming world. You know.
Well, I don't know. I for me it was, since I was so used to the PlayStation controller, I couldn't deal with the Xbox controller. It was just not my thing, and I still can't. I still think they're weird.
See, I came from N64 to PlayStation.
Yeah.
So Xbox, I was like, oh, I can make this work.
Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, you got anything else, man?
No, I'm good. I'm real good. So.
Ah, sweet. So, well, once again, guys, you know, we are Nights Live Table. You know us. We have a Discord. Come and join us on Discord. Come talk shit with us. I stream games on there sometimes. You never know who's going to be on there, really. You know, sometimes I'm streaming Jurassic World Evolution. Sometimes I'm playing Fortnite. Sometimes I'm just talking shit with the guys.
Sometimes I'm painting.
Sometimes. You know, but it's a great community. So, you know, share this episode with your friends and come and hang out. On top of that, if you've been here for a while, consider subscribing to our Patreon, man. We now have at least one, or will have one, bonus episode for the patrons, and we're going to actually continue that. It might not be monthly, but we're going to try and give more and more and more bonus content to the patrons that'll, you know, just to say thank you for signing up.
Yeah.
So that's the plan. We want to try and do a big monthly episode every month, bonus episodes or whenever you get them, but we want to try and get the patrons their bonus as well.
Yeah.
So if you want to hear more of that, a bit less filtered, a bit less polished in terms of what we're talking about, that's what you need to do. Join Patreon.
sure.
Alright, man. Well, I'm proud of you for keeping your nipples inside your shirt for this long, Obi. That's me done for the day, brother.
Yeah, I'm good. Thanks.
Awesome. No worries, man. Until next time, remember to crank that amp.
We slay the grey.
And we are the Knights of the Hobbit table. See you guys.
Sure are. Bye, dudes.
Bye.